Hello, my name is Johnny and welcome back to my channel, JS. This is our 1948 Ford F4 truck. And this is the Ford Flathead V8 that we pulled out of it. As you can see, we have taken most of the stuff off of this engine already. All that we have to pull off of it is just the camshaft, the crankshaft, and the valves. Now, if you haven't seen our other videos, you may be wondering, why are we tearing this engine down to bare bones? Why are we pulling off everything out of this engine? Well, there's two reasons, but essentially it comes down to this engine needs to be bored out, okay? In the last video, when we pulled out all of the pistons that you can see here, we ended up with 4 blown pistons, and all of those pistons resulted in damage to the cylinder wall. One that you can see really clearly is in this cylinder here. You can see that really deep groove. That's where one of the parts of the blown piston ring was scratched a really deep groove all the way up and down the cylinder wall there. The other issue is that because this engine is 77 years old and has been used for a lot of that, the engine, there's actually grooves. If you saw our last video, there's a ring all the way around a lot of these that prevented us from getting the pistons out. And we had to use the ridge reamer to get the pistons out. But that was resulted because the pistons have worn down a lot on these cylinders and they're no longer at like original specs. And so they need to be bored out to the next size so I can get new pistons for them so that we can get this thing up and running again. So essentially, like I said, we're just going to have to get this thing to a machine shop and we're going to have to get it bored out. But for that to happen, we need to get this thing torn all the way down, get it all taken apart. So we're going to get the crankshaft out, we're going to get the camshaft out, and we're going to get the valves out in this video. So stay tuned for that. Another new thing here is this engine stand. This is brand new. I got it put together just yesterday, and I got the engine set on it. And man, I already really like having this thing. If you saw our last video or the videos before, we've been having to do everything with this cherry picker and this tire. And most of the work had to be done while it was sitting on a tire. And man, that just made it a pain, especially when I was trying to pull out the pistons and I had to do stuff that was underneath it. This thing makes it so much easier because all I have to do is just spin it over, or I can lock it in place sideways. I have so many options, but being able to actually, it's a little bit stiff here, but yeah, like this, being able to get it all the way over and be able to turn it over, and also just having it like fully suspended up so that I can, if I need to, I can turn stuff. I mean, it is just so nice. I really like this. I got this engine stand here from Speedway Motors. It was only $100. It really wasn't even that expensive, and I'm already liking it a lot. Alright, so the first project is going to be getting all of these valves out. As you can see, I've already gotten one valve out, and I did that just so I could figure out exactly how it all works so I can show you, and it'll be somewhat streamlined. Now, a lot of people that you'll see on YouTube that do this, they use some sort of pry bar. This is an actual pry bar, but there's like a specialized pry bar, and they stick it in there, and you kind of use just, you know, the leverage to push up on it and do that. And then you got to hold down the pry bar while you also do mess around with all this stuff. I'm not going to do that. I have this. Like, there you go. I have this. This is a valve spring compressor. I got this when we were doing the Rio project and we were still working on it. I had to pull some valves on it, part of that process. So I have this and I'm going to use this, and it seems to work pretty well. It's a little bit nicer than using the pry bar because I can put all my focus into getting the little wedges out and not have to worry about holding down the pry bar thing too. So for this example, I'm going to pull this one right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the compressor thing here. I'm going to get it around the base of the holding thing here. And then I'm going to, it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to tighten down this wing nut around it just a little bit better. Now it has to come back at an angle because of the jaws that I have on it. So let me resituate here. It has to come back at an angle like this because of the jaws that I have on it. They aren't flat. And then I gotta come back a little bit. Then I just gotta press down on this for the most part. I put it There you go. See, it locks into place. Now, I put it on top of the valve, and that is so, as you can see here, now, this is not held. If you just try to pull it out, putting it on top of the valve, it'll just bring the actual valve up, and then every time you try to do stuff with it, it's just going to get stuck. So then I got to take the pry bar here that I showed you earlier, and I got to free this up. Oh. I got to free this up, kind of break that up free so it goes up. And then, not sure if you can really see, one of them already flew off, but there's wedges on here. And there you go, both of them are off here. There's these little wedges on here, and those go around the base of the spring, and those wedge on there, and that's what holds it into place. So I just use a magnetic screwdriver like this to grab those wedges out of there. So now, all I have to do is just crank over the pulley by hand here until it lifts that cylinder up, and it will slide right out. And there you go. The valve's out. And now I just got to do that 14 more times. Now, to keep things organized here, what I'm doing is after I get the valve out, I come over to the wire wheel and I clean off the top just a little bit. Now this gives me a good clean spot here where I can write on this valve what it is. In this case, it's the cylinder 3 exhaust valve. So now I know exactly what valve this came out of, so I can put it back in its place. Okay, we have gotten all of the valves out, all 16 of them. I have them all in this little tub here. So that is step 1 complete. We have gotten all of the valves out. Next, we're going to start working on the crankshaft and the camshaft. Looks like it's just 6 bolts here through there, and that's for that's going to hold the bearings and such, and we should be able to pull it out. Now it's just the camshaft you got to get out. This shows you how much I know. I was trying for the life of me to figure out how this camshaft came out, and it didn't occur to me that all I had to do was just pull. Just had to get a little bit of leverage on it. Comes right out. All right, there we go. Camshaft is out. Okay, so we got the oil pump all taken out here finally. So now we just got to get all of these lifters out here, and then we will basically be done here. All that's left after that is just this final gear here that connects to your oil pump, that little oil pump gear. So on the back of the lifters here, we're just gonna use a Sharpie to write down which lifter it is. So that's what we're gonna do. Now, you can't really get to this last gear here with the engine stand on it. So we're gonna go ahead and we got the cherry picker here. We're gonna pick it up and get it out while it's hanging there. I made this really janky, poorly put together slide hammer thing so I could get this bearing out, and it actually worked pretty well. And so with that final touch, everything is off of the block here. This is a completely bare bones block, absolutely nothing left on it to take off. So that means that it is ready to go to the machine shop. We contacted a machine shop near us, and they said that they can and will do this engine block after they take a look at it and make sure that it's something that they actually can do. So until I can get it to them and get it and they can do their work and get it back to me. This is all that I can do. So with that, that's all that I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving me a like and a subscribe. It really does help out the channel. And if you want to leave a comment, I really do appreciate it. I read all of them, and I do really enjoy reading all of your guys' comments, tips, and anything that you guys leave for me to read. So thank you so much for watching again. Goodbye.